We got it. Hey, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Hello. We are here, Coco After Dark. This is Nicole M. Smith.
Hey.
Whew, we're just unwinding, okay? We've been ripping and running all day. We are unwinding. Welcome to the unwind time. It's Coco After Dark. And tonight, my wonderful guest, Nicole M. Smith. She has so much to tell you about who she is. She does so much. She's an amazing woman. Northside transplant, right?
Right.
Right. Okay. But this is home now, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So tell everybody a little bit about who you are.
Who am I? Well, first of all, yeah, I'm sporting some socks and sandals. Shout out to my little cousin, my birthday twin Elijah, who be sporting socks and sandals at 2 years old. But I got the Jimi Hendrix socks on. But shout out to Elijah.
Jimi Hendrix. Let me. You got the Jimi Hendrix on
The
there?
Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, okay. On the backside here. Let's see. Okay. Shout out to the Jimi Hendrix. Where'd you get those at?
I can't be telling my secrets.
Okay, it's a secret. She got some fly Jimi Hendrix socks, but it's a secret.
Now I'd be liking to get my socks on, but there's certain stores around the Twin Cities that sell particular kind of socks, so not too far from here. So yeah, that's
Okay. Shout out to your socks and sandals.
my socks and sandals. But yeah, bring up my birthday twin because his little butt is actually a great segue into who I am and how long I've been doing this. I have a line from a One Woman show I did. It was like January 19th, 1983. I exited the womb and entered the world performing my first monologue. It was something like, basically my whole life I've been doing this. So I am a classically trained theater artist. I do events. I have a history as an arts administrator. I'm a facilitator. I'm a consultant. Director, poet, spoken word artist, producer. I be playing the recorder. People be clowning me for playing the recorder. But yeah, I'm a little bit of everything. I love to cook, chef it up.
Okay, you do spoken word.
I do. A little bit Coco Niche After Dark. Miss Keisha over here creating the spark. Getting the art going so beautifully up in the melanated memorability of who we be.
Okay, freestyle poetry.
Snaps and claps. But so just got done doing an event for Pride. We Soul Friday is the longest running queer women of color dance party in the Twin Cities. Shout out to all the folks who have been there from the impetus to now. Yeah, I'm co-organizer with Sally Nixon, and we had a beautiful Pride event at Ice House.
Shout out to Sally Nixon.
Yes, shout out to Sally.
So the parties that you do that you just did, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, really the basis is creating a space. It started at this bar called Pie. Shout out to all the folks, Ty and Rox and Lady L and so many people that were there from the start because it was like, where's a space for us? Where's a space for queer women to just be, to not be oogled, tokenized, all these different things. And so Friday was created and I came on in 2013, almost 10 years doing it. And yeah, we showed up and showed out. It was beautiful. It was an array of shades and so many people were grateful because our last party was January 2020.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What do you have like performances at this party or is it just kind of like networking?
It's a straight up dance party. Like our Pride party, we had 3 DJs, we had a photo booth. Shout out to Simone and Jamie. We had 3 DJs, Keezy, Lady L, and DJ Indigo. But we've done different things too. We've had actually Lizzo. One of our DJs was Shannon Blowtorch. So that's when Blowtorch was part of Girl Party. So Lizzo actually performed a couple times with Girl Party. And Lizzo, so cool. so humble, tore it up on stage. We've had um, different burlesque dancers. We've had belly dancers, fly girl dancers. I've performed on stage a couple times, doing poetry, doing a movement-based thing. We've had Andrea Jenkins. I mean, we've had so many people just bless the space with what they do.
That's awesome.
So thank you.
So there you have it. It's a safe space for queer
Women
of color. If you want to party, talk to Nicole.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about how you use your art as a tool for healing in our community and just building community legacy.
Right. Art is all I do. So I said I have a background as an arts administrator. So undergrad, I worked at Penumbra Theater, where I was the admin intern. I worked at Pillsbury House. I worked at Children's Theater Company. I worked at Intermediate Arts. And I tell people I can't do stuff without art. And there's an art to everything.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, thank you. So it's like from wee little ones to elders and all in between. Like I've done work at Crisis Care Nursery Center as an artist in residence. And I just got a quick story. Crisis Care Nursery, those who may or may not know, legit, young people get dropped off without explanation really by parent guardians, different folks, and they're there for 3 days. And so I came in as a co-teaching artist and just creating 60 minutes for them to help heal. It's not like do warrior two, but it's like, okay, reach forward and backward and reach to the stars and bring it to your toes, like doing all this stuff.
Okay, wait. It's Crisis Nursery Center, so you can just like drop your kids off.
You can help me too. Okay, there's a crisis situation.
Okay.
Yes. So no, people cannot freely just be like, I need that right. No, y'all. But
not that I was gonna drop my kids off or anything
no,
like that. But that's important information. You know what I'm saying? Because I know people who have had like mental breakdowns, like somebody help. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's important information for people to know. Like if you have a crisis going on, there is a place where you can take your kids and have like a 3-day mental recollection, recollect your thoughts, your mental and everything. So yeah, so it's called Crisis Nursery Center.
Crisis Care Nursery Center.
Crisis Care Nursery Center.
And that was some time ago. I feel like it would still be around. But yeah, the importance, especially, these are brown and black kids. The staff usually are white folks. So for me to come in, that's part of the healing. And I actually, going into it, part of the training was this research out of Harvard that showed that people are literally born in a trauma. Like trauma occurs in vitro. Like the mama literally passes down trauma. And we as Black folks know the ancestral and generational trauma that literally is in our body and being. So 60 minutes, I come up in there, not doing like, we're gonna do yoga, but like stretch it out, do all these things. Get that sympathetic nervous system to calm down, activate the parasympathetic nervous system, chill, meditate, things like that. But, I asked the kids, I said, okay, so what song do we want to play? Or sing, we're sitting in a circle, this little girl was like, Itsy Bitsy Spider. I'm like, cool, okay. We sang Itsy Bitsy Spider, no particular, Itsy Bitsy Spider, all that. So then afterward, I'm like, so what did we like about our time with Itsy Bitsy Spider? This little girl raised her hand so serious. She's like, I said, okay. She said, what I love about Itsy Bitsy Spider is I got the juju on that beat. And she was like 3 years old, so serious. And I was like, yes, I too love that about the Itsy Bitsy Spider. I got the juju. But see, that's what I'm saying. So that's part of the healing, right? Like that, this 3-year-old didn't focus on like, where's mama or daddy or nana or whatever. She was just like jujuing on that beat. And that just helped her in that healing. And, I've worked with folks unhoused, like at Culture Club Collective with their LGBTQ homeless youth population. I say my work's been experienced from the streets to the White House, where I got invited for my work in 2016 under Obama.
Okay, the White House.
Obama's administration for my work in the bi and queer community. So
Awesome. Congratulations on that. That's huge. Did you get to meet like any of the presidential staff?
Yeah,
Michelle?
actually, I know. I'm like, the other day I heard Michelle's voice. I was like, floaters, man. Like, no, who was in the room though, and we heard speak was the first trans woman, might be trans person, but first trans woman in an administrative position.
Okay.
And then it was like 50 of us from like the nation, across the nation, and Andrea Jenkins came through, and some other folks. Andrea actually performed a poem, and we were actually in the Eisenhower building, which is where the meetings are. So we were in like the press room, and I did not get a chance to get my picture taken with the White House emblem. I was like, like let other people go. I didn't know it was a TV screen.
That reminds me, we got to take a picture before this is over.
Okay, yeah.
I always forget to do the pictures. Okay. But yeah, how did you get invited to that? Was it was just through the work that you do, a particular, what were you doing that you got invited to that?
Yeah, so I was doing, I was an artist doing work with the Bisexual Organizing Project, BOP, and BOP. Okay. And I was holding space particularly for like Black, Indigenous people of color. So I was doing stuff at Cafe Southside. So again, shout out to Rox and Anna. That space isn't there anymore, but 34th in Chicago was like a Black, Indigenous people of color queer space, like cafe, coffee shop, in there like tribes playing, or our music, our people, like food stuff like that. So I would hold meetings, just different spaces, healing spaces. I worked with the People's Movement Center. Shout out to Io Clemens. Yeah, and just having us gather and be and heal, and there's healing and being together. So Bob reached out, got a phone call, and they were like, may we sponsor you to be invited to the White House? Like June 2016. I'm like, yeah, thank you.
Right.
And then, but the White House stuff be unlocked. Like, I got an email like a week before I was to go out there. And then it was like, you can't tell anybody you're coming here. Like, you can't even mention you're coming to the White House. Yeah. And I still got the email like with their emblem that's like, you've been accepted, because I had to clear security and all this stuff. But it was beautiful for us to be there, us that are like activists, organizers, and it coincided with the opening of the African American Museum. But
did you get to go check that out?
No, man, them tickets were like unlocked. I did though. I was like, reparations, man, we should have got first access to that.
Yeah.
But no, we did go to some of the events though, and a beautiful moment, literally leaving the Human Rights Campaign, walking onto the lawn with this person I met there, and Michelle and Cello was playing Purple Rain. So again, this is 2016, so the year Prince passed away.
Who's Michelle?
Michelle and Cello. Bomb, like just Black female artists, queer Black female artists.
Okay, awesome. Now, you also do work with the elders in the community, right?
Yeah, I do. I'm from Rondo. So shout out to Rondo, St. Paul Central. And there was just something really special. I've lived in New York, I've lived in Hawaii, and I've done my work on a local, national, international level, but to come back to Rondo and do this work with these dynamic 5 Black women, these elders range from late 70s to late 80s. And for them to experience art in this way of having voice, of, at first they're like, it's like, yeah, we're gonna do poetry and spoken word. We're gonna go from the page to the stage process. They were like, that's you. You the artist. And go from that was 2019. So I remixed it up. As artists, we gotta be like pivot on the fly. And I was like, okay, I'm not gonna have them write. I was like, y'all, we're oral people, griots, like the historians, the keeper of the family, all these stories. And so I flipped it and I just put a tape recorder in the middle of the room, and I like had them guide about food, faith, and family. Uh, we got to
After dark time.
right. Okay. Um, so yeah, so that actually showcased at the Minnesota Museum of American Art, or getting around food, faith, and family. I mean, the ancestors kind of came through. It's like, okay, after dark for real. And then 2020 came, had to pivot because of COVID. That was before vaccines and all that. So, I mean, they did everything from poetry, spoken word, collage, photography, inspired. I had them think about how they can use art as a choice of weapon based off of Gordon Parks' approach to using the camera as a choice of weapon, and really talk about blackness and blacktivism, active artivism, and really like come up out on stuff because again, George Floyd, we were like still feeling it, right? And that ended up in an exhibition showing at the Minnesota Museum of American Art, and so much press, and their stories known. So right now, I actually am doing a project with them. Actually, going to bring in somebody from our building to be a guest artist. Shout out to Amy Wilderson.
Oh, yes. Shout out to Amy. I love her.
Yes, Amy Wilderson. And on the fly, again, we're just at the meeting, the meetings we have. And I was just like, I need an artist, Amy,
Let me stop this real quick.
Okay.
Okay.
You want me to keep talking?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, yeah, the beauty that I feel is really coming from this is for these 5 Black elders, these 5 Black women, to be able to use art to tell their stories, to use art to create legacy. I mean, I had one of the sons who's a well-known artist. He's like, I didn't think my mom could do this. Like, I didn't know my mom could do this. And now they're just so open. I'm like, we're gonna come back and meet. They're like, yes, we need to meet, and they just love the space. We fellowship, we laugh, we be like clowning, but we get it done.
So these 5 women that are participating in the program, how did they get to be the ones to participate? Is this like a partnership you have with the senior living home, or what exactly is it?
Yeah, so Hallie Q. Brown, again, shout out to Rondo. And Hallie Q. Brown was where I really cultivated my artistry. Like, I took piano, guitar, glockenspiel, steel drums. I was a bad kid running around in Mildred's after school program. I broke a chair at Penumbra Theater, all this stuff. And so they have a program there called the Golden Agers. So the Minnesota Museum of American Art wrote me in to be an artist in residence and wanted to connect with the Rondo community, Hallie Q. Brown. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna pitch, try to recruit, things like that. And then I'm walking up in there, and one of the staff at Hallie Q. Brown, who's not there no more, shout out to Don, was like, I think some of your family's up in there. And I was like, what? And then I got real nervous. Like, I'm no matter artist, performer, I'm like, I can perform in front of thousands of strangers, but if there's one person I know, I get all shy. So I was like, oh, word, who's up in there? It's like, your Aunt Shirley and your Aunt Betty. And I was like, what? So, of course they're like, well, we know you're going to make us do it. I was like, well, consent. But they came through, and then another like auntie type came through. And then these 2 others, Miss Ruth and Miss Gloria. So it's Miss Shirley, Miss Betty, Miss Ruth, Miss Gloria, and Miss Jeanette. And that's how the 5 of them came together. And one of them is real spicy. I ain't going to call her out, but when we talked about bringing others to the group, she was like, they had their chance. She's like, it's us 5, and we're going to keep it that way. Because it's just a sacred space, They're like, we don't have to be moms, we don't have to be grandmas, we don't have to be this, that. We can just be here. And literally, they screen printed I am artist on their chests, and they wear it proudly. So even I learned screen printing, like just all these things. And literally, as simple as giving them tools and be like, go take pictures of the world, go create, capture blackness, go create, like, the prompt literally throughout the project was blackness is. And what is blackness through poetry? What is blackness through collage? What is blackness through the camera? What is blackness through fill in the blank? You know?
It's so important too, right? Because um, elder care. I mean, like that is like one of the uh, biggest things that they talk about as far as being lonely as like an elder in the community and not having family members to support you. Like it's so important to have relationships and social interaction.
Right.
So like I really give you kudos for being out there and really just having something for our elders in the community to do, to know that they're still here, they're still alive, they're still loved, and they still have it, they still have like the gift of life. So that's awesome to me.
Thank you. And these 5 women, like, they're independent, they got their homes, they come into the community center, and now actually we're at Springboard for the Arts. Shout out to Springboard. I'm doing so many shout outs.
Yes, you should. Shout out to Springboard for the Arts. They are awesome.
Yes. And I mean, a beautiful space. And, last month we met, and right before, no, we had lunch, we met, they're going to tour the new space. Man, the person leading the space couldn't even like really get stuff out the window. Ooh, what? We get to do what? I mean, and that was the joy. Like, yes, like you're saying, going ahead and having them just get that spark, especially at a point of life, which who knows what, right? Like, It's not in the 20s, not in the teens, not in the 30s, in the 70s and 80s. And it's like, yeah, y'all are fierce. Y'all are Black women. And I always bring in the quote, and I would tell them this. I was like, y'all, it's important because Malcolm X said the most neglected person in the world is a Black woman, right? So I'm like, come on now, the importance of that. And then 2015, when I became legally blind and my sight shifted, I was like, yo, disabled people get cast off, marginalized, let alone all the identities that I am. And then I just really started thinking about seniors in that way. Like the cast off, the marginalization of seniors, again, let alone Black seniors, let alone Black female seniors. So I was like, yeah, I'm here. Come on now, like stand up,
So you said in 2016 you were pronounced legally blind?
2015.
2015? Oh, okay. What was that experience like for you? Because to go from, being
fully sighted.
Yeah, fully sighted to
blind in one eye, and I tell people my vision in my left is like, so yeah, right eye, I do this, I can't see anything. Left eye is like if you go to take a picture with a camera and it's smudge. So that's what I tell people in my vision. I never went to blind school. I never did any of that stuff. I really legit had to learn, like literally how to walk, because I was like going in the world, I would just fall on the sidewalk, and learning about the intentionality of steps, literally finding my footing, learning how to not burn myself, when cooking and knives and stuff. I got a lot of support from loved ones in a variety of ways. But honestly, I'm the type of person, like, it was one surgery, restored my retina, a retina detachment surgery. Vision was cool, living in New York, hustle bustle, fine. And then I'm legit living in Bed-Stuy. And then my vision started shifting. And so a couple months after the surgery, I got a second surgery. And again, been blind in that eye ever since. So what I did, Keisha, is like, I was bedridden in December until I like performed at a Kwanzaa program at a global market. But then in April, I went to an ashram in the Bahamas and did yoga 4 hours a day. And I stayed in a tent hut for like 15 days and cried to the ocean, and did a lot of healing. So for me, I tell people, I'm like, having had a kidney transplant, being legally blind, like I'm more me now than I ever have been. And that like warrior woman.
Absolutely. So you feel like those events kind of made you appreciate life more and who you are as a person?
Definitely. I mean, I tell people the realest, illest things that I experienced was COVID for 6 weeks and almost dying while living in Hawaii and literally feeling death at my bedside and like the will to not die, like in both situations, to be like, yo, I'm not gonna die in Hawaii. My mom, like, I'm not gonna not like experience life with my mom, my grandma, loved ones. I'm not gonna die in Hawaii. And I was in the hospital for 19 days and then literally had to, I had kidney disease that exacerbated into kidney failure and came back here. But I was in the hospital 19 days, had a day out. My then partner, like, packed up, was like, get in the bed, packed up. I had a Sunday to experience Hawaii, and then Monday, I had to be out. So, yeah, 3.5 years of dialysis. But again, Keisha, that grit, that will, the blood that runs in my veins from my ancestors, um, the ability to do things that people wouldn't think I would be able to do. So I actually learned how to do home dialysis called peritoneal dialysis. I had a port in my abdomen, a long tube, hooked it up to like an IV bag, and they were like, "We don't know how you're going to do this because you're legally blind. How are you going to see the buttons? How are you going to do this?" I was like, "All I can do is try."
So wait, you can do dialysis from home?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I started off in clinic. And again, that's some of the best education that I got was because I got sick in Hawaii and went on dialysis while in a hospital bed in the room. And the nurses were like, ask any question you want to know. It's not a death sentence, which actually I thought. I was told like 2 years in dialysis, then gone. And I was on it for 3.5 years until my transplant. But yeah, they were telling me about peritoneal dialysis, and they're like, it's cheaper and it's actually known outside the US. And they're like, you're young, you are self employed. I think you'll be a good candidate. You love to travel. So, yeah, I would do it at home for every day for like 10 to 12 hours a day, depending on like my prescription.
So going back to the being pronounced legally blind, that started from a botched surgery.
Yeah, so 19, I got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes at the U. I was, well, while at the U. And so then I went through my 20s doing whatever I wanted. I was like, how 20-year-olds do. I'm like at the club, sleeping for 2 hours, then getting up, going to work or school or whatever. Eating what I wanted, doing what I wanted to do. And then first hospitalized at 29. Probably for kidney stuff. And then the vision shifted when I was 31.
Oh my goodness, is there an emergency?
So, yeah, I literally.
Hold on. Okay, there we go.
Little entertainment.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, that in and of itself, like straight up went to Dear White People with my homegirl on Halloween 2014, lost my glasses, was like, I don't, like, on a fluke, lost my glasses. And we were like, it was not a full theater. And so I was like, well, I got to get a new prescription. I go to the eye doctor. They're like, your retina's becoming detached in both eyes. I'm like, what? So yeah, with diabetes, uncontrolled diabetes, like basically ruptured blood vessels, like aneurysms in the eye. So I've experienced aneurysms in the eye. Was pulling at my retina and detaching it. So yeah, I had 2 retina detachment surgeries. I've had like laser treatment. I had eye injections. And people are like, what? I'm like, exactly how it sounds.
Oh, that's crazy because my guest was that last week, I think. She was also talking about a mishap with the medical field, and it's just crazy because I think that brings up an important issue with blacks in the medical field and how we're treated.
Yep.
And it's just crazy to me sometimes that you have to really be an advocate for yourself in the medical field because they send doctors in and they're like, oh, hey, on the fly, hurry up and sign this. Can we do this surgery and use, somebody training for this very serious surgery? And if you're not like really an advocate for yourself or know how to be an advocate for yourself, it's very easy to be susceptible to just anything.
Right. Exactly. And that's what happened, right? Like, I'm 31 years old and you gotta have this, you gotta sign this liability waiver. And I was like, wait, what? Like, had no time because it was like so emergent, like deemed so emergent and all of these things. And so I was just caught up in the hustle, keeping it real, the hustle of them making money in the ways, right? Off of my body. And to the point where that's what I'm saying. I'm more me now based on everything I've gone through because I would go toe to toe with these doctors. I mean,
oh my
God. You getting your steps in today?
All right. Let's see. But go ahead. I'm still listening.
Okay, but straight up going toe to toe and being like, yo, I'm not going to be your guinea pig because how many centuries have y'all done the dehumanization of Black folks, let alone Black women, even when Black men were deemed 3/5 of a white man, that didn't even include Black women. And let alone the forced sterilization. Oh man, the name's eluding me right now. Actually, I got the book on my Audible list of this is out of John Hopkins, whose cells were used in so many. It's like right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to do a whole project actually about the dehumanization of the Black woman and us like speaking up and speaking out and being like, no. And this was before that damn, I don't know what I can say on live. I want to say
it's Coco After Dark, so you say whatever you want.
Okay, let alone motherfucking. I'm like motherfucking like Roe v. Wade decision, which y'all, I'm gonna speak directly. All right, so our people, my people, are y'all keeping up with everything that's happening right now? Do you know that the Fifth Amendment is being basically, okay, let me break it down because I'm getting so riled up because I'm hearing about like people speaking up and out against like the woman with the baby daddy not feeding the kid, all the kids and all this stuff. And I'm like, but y'all, let's talk about Roe versus Wade. Let's talk about the rights being taken away. Let's talk about Clarence Thomas trying to threaten birth control. Let's talk about men, people without uteruses making decisions about women's bodies. Like, come on now. And so that got me on something. But yeah, the Fifth Amendment rights, y'all. Do you know that police technically, because of what went down with Roe v. Wade and privacy and stuff, don't have to read the Miranda rights? Like, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be held against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. They don't even have to say that no more. So guess what?
They don't have to say that anymore?
No.
They don't have to read Miranda rights somewhere?
No.
Oh, I missed that one. I didn't even know that.
NPR was talking about it, and actually Shaka and Kali, shout out to Shaka, mentioned something too. And I can talk about some of the other work I'm doing. But yeah, and so NPR was talking about that by way of whatever the privacy thing is with Roe v. Wade. And do y'all know too that if they suspect that a woman has like even researched abortion in a state where it's outlawed, they can track the phone and then have persecution. Yes, y'all, that's what I'm saying, y'all. Let's get up on this stuff. But yeah, they were saying NPR was like, you know what, if because they don't have to read Miranda rights anymore, they can use coercion to like get you to like basically force you into confessing or something like that. Because remember, it's that anything you say can and will be held against you in a court of law. So if they don't say that no more and they for like coerce a like thing out of you, like a confession or something, then then the police officers may not face any, well, I mean, they are, face up, but may not face any type of retribution. So, yeah, it's getting real. And it's like, we got to know our rights. We got to know what's shifting with the Supreme Court. I mean, I know people who have a platform, Megan Thee Stallion, Ariana DeBose, so many folks, Kendrick Lamar, have like spoken out against the Supreme Court, like Roe v. Wade decision. Keisha, you good over there?
Yeah. My goodness. Okay. Sheesh.
But I can segue into the work I'm doing now, in addition to the work with the elders. So my like artivism goes back to Central High School, where we would be in a black box and be just fired up and pissed off. And like our mentor was like, don't just be pissed off about it, write about it. Don't just write about it, but get it on its feet. Don't just get it on its feet, but have it be the plays, the basis of the plays you do. Because we toured around to different schools, created the plays and directed them and produced them and stuff. And so my work going from like being like in people's face, like, you know what, fuck you, da, 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 like through my poetry and spoken word or theater, like some of the stuff, man, I did at the U, tearing stuff, like I'm gonna do a lynching at the, like just all these things, because of this white institution, all these things that like being fired up about now in my evolution and growth into the present moment, I still can do that. But now I'm really, as a facilitator, facilitating about policy reform and disability rights and ideas, so inclusion, diversity, equity, accessibility, and just really being like, yo, a fellowship I did, shout out to Art Equity in Atlanta, was like, if you ain't talking about race in tandem with sexism, classism, any of the isms, you're not really doing the work, especially because of this country. And so I just got done doing this workshop at Minnesota Council for Nonprofits. Shout out to Courtney Gerber. And I pitched them this idea about like empathy and leadership, power, privilege, bias, and being like, folks need to like check in, not even check their privilege, but check in with their privilege before doing any type of equity work. Because I'm like, bias is everywhere. And y'all's carrying that bias into whatever kind of reform you're trying to do. First, you gotta like go ahead and pause, be conscious, check in with that shit, and then use it to dismantle the oppressive nature that is being perpetuated by one's privilege and power. So I just got done doing that workshop series in June, a 4-week series, and I was like, yo, this is for mid and upper level management. And Minnesota Council for Nonprofit, Courtney Gerber, supported that work. And another thing I'm doing is with the nonprofit, same thing, using theater of the oppressed, which is my background, using theater for social change, to come up with these scenarios, like what to do if a police officer, real life situations, like comes up in there and y'all are doing a mural with the kids and they witness some stuff going down, how to de-escalate or intervene or all these other things. So doing that, using theater as a tool for them to literally go ahead and act it out, but then also addressing the healing needed in the moment when that sympathetic nervous system happens or getting triggered or re-traumatized. And so doing it in a space where those emotions are real. I mean, I literally had them go from a frozen sculpture to like activating it and anger, and like they're like yelling in each other's face. And like having them drop that, like drop it, take a breath, close your eyes, drop your head, check in with your body. What are you feeling? What are you noticing? Take breaths. Like, I always say I unpack and address trauma to heal, but I never leave people in a state of trauma. Never. And I've witnessed people doing that. So y'all who's doing like that trauma informed work, yeah. Really, I mean it's a lot of responsibility and liability in doing that type of work, but it's the transformation that I experience and witness and observe from like folks who rarely get an opportunity to address trauma, to unpack it, to heal. I'm like, trauma is internalized pain that feeds and festers until it's unpacked.
Yeah, absolutely. It's and not only does it feed and fester, but it comes through on so many levels, like in our community.
Yes.
It comes through on so many levels that it's crazy. It's like the relationships that we have with each other, they become toxic because of the traumas that we've experienced and not dealing with.
Right.
And it's really kind of tearing our community apart. So that's awesome that you help people to deal with that and unpack that, but also to, heal from that, because it's one thing to, unpack it, recognize it, but to actually go through the process of healing from that is like what we really need.
Right. Thank you. And the visibility of that, so 2017, I had this project with a group of young Black men. And again, doing theater of the oppressed, I had to like meditate and, like these young brothers, they teenagers. And I had them, I was like, y'all, we're going to start inside. But then I was like, we're going to do it outside. And I didn't really tell, I was like, come on, y'all, like developing that trust. And I'm like, come on, y'all, we're going to go outside. They're like, okay, bet, it's nice. And da-da-da-da-da. And they got on the hill. I was like, have a seat. I connect with the breath, let Mother Gaia come and support you and, check in with your body because we have been doing this work.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, we're meditating outside, y'all. And I said, because guess what? How many people judge you and think that they know you by you walking down the street and are threatened by you being a young Black man? I said, but find your peace out here. And I was like, by y'all being on the hill, meditating, connecting with nature, with the earth, with ancestors, with the elements, that's profound and powerful.
Absolutely.
Let's find in peace. And I had him share with one of them was like, man, it was weird as shit, man. But I was like in a cave, man, and then I went to the water and like a dolphin like said hi to me. And he was embarrassed. But I was like, but for me to be like, okay, and what the dolphin say? Not judging, nothing, and again, like you're saying, Keisha, especially that toxic masculinity and all the things that can be experienced in our culture, in our community, it's like, it's okay. It's okay to like have that dolphin say hi to you. It's okay to juju on that beat. It's okay to be 87 years old and write your first poem.
So what I want you to just kind of explain to people, like, what is the definition of toxic masculinity? Because some people don't understand it. Like some people think that because anti this or this or that, they don't understand exactly what toxic masculinity is. So can you kind of explain that?
Yeah. So how I, interpret it is, so like with those young men, right? And it's like, all right, so puffing up, kind of being performative, like some type of performative masculinity, maybe feeling like they got to be a certain kind of way, but they got to like treat their loved one, like their partner, a certain kind of way, because that's what men do, right? Men don't cry, men are strong, men ain't like all these things that I think are ingrained and internalized as a result of it being grown up. Like, man, you a punk, don't be crying. Like if little kids crying, right? Like they scrape their knees, like, baby, yeah, that hurts, right? Like it's okay to cry, boo, like, yeah. So, and then it can come out in a lot of ways, in abuse in so many varieties of ways, right? Because it's like,
turn my thing off because this is irritating.
I was like blowing up over there. So it's like, the misogyny, the patriarchy, shit, toxic masculinity is playing out right now in the Supreme Court. Again, these folks with these men never having a uterus, making these decisions, toxic masculinity, uh, some of these lyrics in a rap song about women being objectified and being pieces of ass and all this stuff, toxic masculinity. Um,
There we go. Fix that problem. Sheesh.
it's like you ain't gonna get your steps in
Right.
the same way. Um, so on a multitude of levels, and again, it plays out particularly, I feel, in the Black community, where I mean, I'm loving that I'm hearing people talk about their mental health um, in a variety of representation in terms of gender identity. Um, I have somebody who I've known for 20 plus years. I like reached out about somebody else, and then he was like, "Yeah, man, I had to kind of break away because of my mental health." And I'm like, "Yeah." So I feel like our generation and younger are really connecting with that type of mental health or addressing toxic masculinity. I know there's some accusations that went down a couple years ago in Minneapolis about that call out culture. And I know one brother in particular like went straight to the dude and had him on camera and was like, "So why'd you do what you did? Why did you, feel the need to do that?" And held him accountable for what went down. So
Yeah, I think that's something that needs to happen, right? Because I feel like if we don't talk about certain things, then, there's no consequences to like actions that, if other people knew about it, you wouldn't be doing. So
Right.
I think it is important for us to talk about things, and maybe not so much as to, attack people,
Right.
because it's hurt people that hurt people, right?
Right.
We hear that all the time. It's hurt
Right.
people that hurt people, but
Right.
to, actually, help people and approach them in that manner. And that's another reason why I really respect what you do with your art and using it as a form of healing for people, because we all need healing.
Yeah.
As Black people especially,
Yeah.
we need healing from our traumas that we don't even know about.
Right.
And it's crazy because we do have trauma that's imprinted in our DNA. And I really feel like anybody can overcome trauma, and not everybody's strong enough to do that. So sometimes we need other people like yourself who are strong and who can teach other people how to do things. And I feel like you being an example, as you are, of a human being, because you've been through trauma yourself with your health, and I don't know what else you've been through that you would like to share if you want to share. But you have your own traumas, but here you are, you're shining like a star.
Oh, thank you.
You are sharing your gifts.
Thank you.
You're continuing to push on and press on, and it's really admirable. So
Thank
I
you.
just want to shout you out real quick.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My like 5th 11 shout outs I've been doing. Yeah, what you said is so key, right? Like not attacking. And one of these things that I am versed in, that I did a couple trainings in and learned a technique called the art of hosting. And one of the takeaways, especially when I was at Intermediate Arts and I would hold space, like I was over community engagement there, and would hold space for a variety of community groups and peoples and communities. And it was like, just because the topic is hard, the space doesn't need to be, right? Mm-hmm. So if we're going to have a hard topic or a hard discussion or something to address, then maybe it is more like inviting, like music's playing, and like there's things like on the floor, if people want to like sit on a beanbag on the floor or a yoga mat, or there's blankets or these things, or like we're in a circle, it's not a sterile ass environment. And one of the things that one of the takeaways, shout out to Chris Corrigan.
Shout out to multiple numbers.
Well, because it takes a village, right, for me to be like who I am. And
I might have to disconnect y'all Instagram, because for real. Wait, listen, if this cut off, just go on over to Facebook, because this is ridiculous.
So what is all that dinging?
So go ahead.
Okay, I was like, what's the other thing? He was like, exhale and just plop down. But no, he was like, he was Canadian. He's Canadian. He's like, one of the hardest things to do is to be honest. And he's like, if you're not honest between here and here, how can you be honest between here and here? And the mind blown moments. I just remember being like in intermediate and it's like, whoa. I'm like, if you're not honest between here and here, how can you be honest between here and here?
Facts.
Facts. Yeah, he did. Like he was like really Canadian, like like he hit it real hard. And I was like, whoa, man. So that's the things like again, leading by example. And yeah, I literally got a tattoo on my sleeve intentionally. I was like, I'm gonna wear it on my sleeve. It's a tree and it's a negative space tattoo. Shout out to my artist Nick. And it says art saved me. And how it is like it's a tree and then it's wood grain branches, and in the branches in the tree is art. And then in the rocks is saved in me. I don't know if you can see it.
Nice. Wow, it's really detailed. I like that.
Yeah.
And the rocks, it says saved in me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then the tree is art.
Dope.
And the branches.
Yes, that's nice. I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you really had to break that down because I wouldn't even see that.
And it's funny how some people see it. Again, healing in Hawaii in the hospital. I was there again 19 days. And one of my nursing assistants, he was so sweet. He was like, I'm on your arm. And I was like, what? He's like, I'm on your arm. I said, what? He's like, my name is Art. I'm on your arm. I was like, you know what, Art?
Back up.
No, I mean, he famous. Like, very sweet though. And I mean, again, to be in a crisis situation, right? Mm-hmm. Literally almost dying, but then to have that healing space, like truly, man, shout out to Straub Hospital in Hawaii in Honolulu, for real, like just creating that space. But yeah, so I wore it on my sleeve because art saved my life, like straight up. Central High School, the ability to back then not have the courage to fully speak out against what I was going through, but then use theater as a tool to do that. And then being able to be on that stage and perform for over 20 times what was going on in here. So that's why, straight up, y'all, that's why my work is about unpacking the trauma, addressing the trauma to heal, because that's what I went through. That's what I went through in the Black Box at Central. Being able to don't just be pissed off about it, write about it. I wrote about it. Then I got it on its feet with my ensemble supporting me and being like, yeah, Nicole, let's focus on this. Let's bring this, be a part of the play. And then being able to literally perform it out as a character, but it was really me.
That's amazing. An amazing story too about how art saved you, because for me, art saved me too. Like I didn't even really reflect on how art saved me until I heard you say that, because when I think about my journey and how I got to here where I am today, it really started when I was pregnant with my oldest son. He's 7 years old, getting ready to be 8. So it was while I was pregnant with him and living in a whole nother state from my family, I started drawing. I was a stay-at-home mom, and well, not a mom yet, but I was, I stayed at home at that point. I had stopped working, and I just drew. Like I passed time by drawing, and I ended up doing a book for young girls called All About Beautiful Hair. I never published it. It's gonna come soon though.
I'm like, you should.
Stay tuned.
Yeah. Okay. Shout out to your book.
Thank you. I never, like, my dad's an artist. Like, for anybody who knows my family, I come from a family of art. My dad's an artist. My brother's an artist. I was just over on Broadway doing some art on one of the concrete barricades over there. So shout out to everybody at the church. Oh my God, I'm blanking on the name right now, but right next to Merwin's drugstore, for a project that my brother was doing. So I was over there doing that mural, And it's crazy because I didn't start drawing, painting, any of that until I was pregnant with my son at 35 years old, even though I grew up in a family of art. Now, during that time, I was in a relationship that was really a toxic relationship. And this art kind of made me see, like, what a blessing that I come from. And to go from, not doing anything at all to creating a book and then coming home and, starting to paint and really just like embrace my art, I tell you, it was freeing for me. Like I could stay up and paint all night long till 3-4 o'clock in the morning, knowing I have to go to work the next day, and like not even blink an eye. Then I go to work, and even after a full night's sleep, I just can't stay awake. I can't stay into it. It's just like it's a struggle for me. But me doing my art is healing for me. Like I can do it without anything worrying me. I could do it without, feeling like pressure to do anything else. And, when the pandemic hit and I decided, I'm going to pursue my art full time. And like I said, art comes in many forms. And it started for me with designing my shoes and just combining the love of that with my artwork and my love for clothing. It's just who I am today. And I really feel myself coming into who I am. You know what I'm saying? So how your experience brought you into who you are today. Art is what is bringing me into, the shoes that I feel like I was meant to walk into. Yes. So that was like really powerful for me.
That's awesome. And profound. That is like, you shared that, right? Like literally, it was like caught on camera, the like, hold up.
It felt good too, for real, because that was just like a huge epiphany for me. Like, you know what? Art did save me. And like, I know this, and, just to put it into words, it's like, it's amazing. It's
and your art is on my wall,
Thank you for your support too. Like, seriously, it's like the support too that keeps me going and keeps me motivated. So I love it.
Yeah, I did. I mean, for real. And y'all, like, that's the beauty of where we live too, is like literally.
Okay, I'm turning this off. Sorry, Instagram. Y'all can catch us on Facebook. Switch over to Facebook.
You getting them steps back.
Right. Oh my God. Shout out to whatever wine this is you brought. That's bomb.
Yeah, man. It's like it's one of my favorites.
What is that?
The bottle's over there. I'm like,
that was pretty dope.
Basically, I went to Certix and I was like, and I ain't even trying to be all whatever, but I was like, yo, I love Menage a Trois, like the wine, because it's a blend and like it's easy drinking. And the guy, I don't know if y'all
sure. Hold up. Menage a Trois is the wine?
It's a wine.
Okay. And they didn't have that there?
Well, they had it. So basically, I was like, yo, Certix, I love Menage a Trois. the wine. Y'all keep your minds. The wine, Menage a Trois.
Okay.
And I was like, but I want some a little bit more like complex. And I was, oh my God, like his eyes up. He's, oh my gosh.
I love that. I love when I bump into people who are like artists of their craft, because they really get to explain it.
There's an art to everything. And they be nerding out, man. He was like, oh my gosh, let me show you. And then I gotta be like, I'm legally blind, so can you slow down walking? And he introduced me to this wine. And so it's like, it's a blend, probably 3 different wines. And yeah, again, the bottle's over there if you want to grab it and shout it out.
Let me shout it out. Because it really was pretty good. I'm not really a big red wine drinker. Because, I like sweet stuff.
Okay.
I like the sweet stuff. I thought I turned this off. Okay.
But that's
there
why I like a blend, because it's like,
dang, this phone like won't even cut off. There we go.
It's not like super dry, right? And it's not super dense, but it's a blend. So
Old Vine Red is what it's called. Shout out to the Old wine
And
red.
you just gonna put it right, you like, but I mean, does it say what the wines are on it? Like maybe
No, it just says California red wine, maybe on the back or something. But anywho, it's fabulous.
So while
I
you
don't
put
usually drink wine on here, but maybe this will be our new thing.
Maybe that's why you blowing up on Instagram.
Maybe.
But yeah, like you said, there's an art to everything, and I'm a nerd, man. I'm a nerd about so much stuff, and that's why I am an artist in the way I am. Again, that's why that monologue, January 19th, 1983, 3:29 a.m., which is my special artist hour, that kind of wee hours. But man, I came out of my mama and into the world because I've been an artist. I mean, there's pictures of me as a kid making faces, clowning, like. There's a picture, it was like, come here, Nicole. And I was like, or some like a low toddler. You know, I emulated Rudy from the Cosby. Well, Rudy, I ain't gonna say that. Rudy, like just grew up, just being that kid, knowing rap lyrics, like studying the little liner cassette things, you know, performing all the time. Man, I did some stuff in church. I kind of faked sign language to, to be in front of the church. And, you know, I just wanted to be in front. I was 9 years old, so I didn't, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've been a performer. So I can't not, everything I do, I feel like I do laundry and I'm doing like art as, you know, an artist throughout.
So what is the legacy that you would like to leave behind as an artist?
Yo, represent, you know. I'm like queer, disabled, Black female, you know, and that we can do anything we set our mind to, right? Like I told you I did home dialysis and I was traveling. I went up to Alaska and I was like, there's a picture of me with a unicorn mask on getting dialysis like on the machine back then. And I'm just like up there. I went to like Cali a lot of times. I went to Atlanta a lot of times. I went to like Texas, like us. I mean, all these places, and just would ship my dialysis supplies there. You know, people are astonished. Like I'm at a horse ranch. I'm, you know, doing all this stuff, and they're like, "Okay, who's with you? Because you're legally blind, and what are you shipping here?" And I'm like, "It's me. Like I'm traveling by myself, and yeah, I just do dialysis. You know, even during my fellowship, art equity, I would go in the bathroom and I would fill up, have it sit there and dwell, drain out, and redo it throughout like long ass days, you know, in my fellowship. So we can do it.
So, okay, like some people would use that as, and I say this very lightly because I don't want to offend anybody, but some people use that as an excuse to, you know, limit themselves and limit what they can do, you know. And first of all, you're an example because you are legally blind, yet and still you're not letting that limit what you do, be it traveling, teaching others. What is it that helped you to see that that is not your limitation? I know you said that, you know, you had a greater appreciation for life and who you are as a person through your experiences, but what was that thing that pushed you to, you know, keep going and to do what it is that you really want to do?
I'm a Capricorn Aquarius with a Pisces moon and a Scorpio rising. Like I've always been this, you know, and I told my mama this day, the more that people tell me I can't, I'm like, yes, I can. And she got emotional. I was on the phone with her earlier, and she was like, got choked up, and she's like, babe, because you would be little and be like, mommy, I can't, and get frustrated. She's like, babe, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Let mommy show you. And she calls me Wheats because I loved Coco Wheats cereal. She's like, Wheats, come here. And she told me, she's like, you know, tying my shoes. She gave the example. She said, you were 3.5 years old tying your shoes. She's like, it took you maybe 3 times. She's like, make the bunny or the other one, cross it over. And said every time you're like, Mommy, I can't. She's like, yes, you can, baby. Yes, you can. So that support from my parents, from my mom, from my dad with literacy, like why I'm a nerd. I used to be that kid under the blanket reading with a flashlight. Um, Plus me being who I naturally am has just really led me to be the person I am. And I tell people, I'm like, I have my moments. I get frustrated, again, being legally blind and I can't figure something out. But then I have my moment, I pause, and then I'm like, all right, girl, come on, you got this. Also healing, the work I've done with and on self um, has really brought me to places. I told you, I like about less than 6 months after losing sight in my right eye, lowered vision in my left. I'm like, man, I'm going to an ashram in the Bahamas.
What's an ashram?
Like it was like a yoga retreat. So it was in the Bahamas on Paradise Island. It was straight up like this yoga ashram, which is like nature all around. Again, there was like more like dorms and stuff available, but I legit stayed in a hut that had like maybe 15 tents set up inside. And I had like a bed, a table, and like a place to put my clothes.
Wow, wait a minute. So you mean we don't need like all of this fancy smanchy stuff to heal, right? We just need the basics, right? We just gotta get back to the basics.
And that was, straight up, like seriously, waking up, the bell would ring at like 5:30, then the next bell 5:45, wake up at 6 o'clock, do 20 minutes of meditation, then chant, and then like get a Dharma talk. And then
Dharma talk?
Yeah, basically like a lesson from like a yoga kind of lesson, like in that context, kind of like a sermon. Is the best way for me to kind of synthesize it. But a lesson, right? A life lesson, I'll say that. And then it's like have a little bit of break and then do 2 hours of yoga, have a break. Oh, eat after that, have a break, and then do whatever, maybe a talk and these are open air tempos. So I'm doing yoga, the ocean's right there, it's open air, and it's like a tempo, and I'm like doing some, like all this stuff.
So did they like address your trauma specifically, or was that part left to yourself?
It was basically kind of choose your own adventure. Like there was hammocks set up. It was like bathroom showers. It's basically camp, but not camp. But choosing to do different levels. If I wanted to the whole time, I could have like chilled in my tent and just ate like at breakfast, and it was like vegan, vegetarian food. But I was there intentionally. I was like, I want to do yoga, I want to do this, I want to heal. But I just remember sometimes if people were practicing yoga, I would legit be on the beach by myself, Atlantic Ocean in front of me, and I would listen to Acoustic Soul and just cry. Like that CD is all about affirmations, like we were talking about earlier. And I'm like, yo, all of a sudden this record that I've listened to so many times, this album, all of a sudden it's like in alignment with my healing and speaking to me in these different ways. And I'm just like weeping to the ocean.
I think that's so Kate. Oh my gosh. Listen, I'm so glad to hear you say all this because some people don't want to unpack their trauma. They don't want to think about what they've been through. They don't want to think about the hurt and, everything that they've been through, or they don't want to talk about it with somebody. And I think that's so key that you just went somewhere where you could just be with yourself and experience, stretching your body out, doing yoga, meditating, and, you didn't have to be on Front Street talking about your personal trauma or anything that you've been to, yet you were able to take that time for yourself to heal and to really just in your own mind, take that time for yourself to heal. That's amazing to me, like really. And I think that was really helpful for somebody out there, somebody that sees this, just to take time for yourself.
Yes.
How important it is to just take time for yourself.
Right.
Like if you've been through trauma, if you've been through anything, it's important just to take time for yourself.
Right.
Just to care about you.
Straight up. And that's the thing. And I have a saying, if not me, who? Right? Because I would not prioritize self in certain ways and really be there for others without being there for myself. And again, that saying, dis-ease creates disease, right? So
absolutely.
Type 2 diabetic, kidney stuff, eye stuff. And it's just like on a somatic level, on a deeper level, what is happening in my body? It's, it can be external environments, but a lot of it is internal. So again, that trauma is like festering and feeding. And I'm like, wait, why is this going on in my body? Wait, why is this happening? Some of it, yes, genetic, but then a lot of it is that we are not addressing these things like we're internalizing. Mm-hmm. And the things, again, that's coming from ancestral generational trauma, And so I did. And again, that's who I am. Like 6 weeks of COVID, I'm like, I'm going to Sedona. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to go and just be in the desert because the feeling of the desert, unlike any other. I mean,
where's Sedona at?
Arizona.
Okay. Now that you said earlier, that's one of the biggest energy vortexes.
So Sedona is known for, I don't know if y'all been to the Southwest. It's man, I can just understand some of the stories they talk about, but it's a beautiful feeling, man. So Sedona has the red rocks. I don't know, Utah and Arizona, just a desert, these rock formations, straight up. It's where we got open plains and rock. The energy, I was like, I'm so small. Anytime I'm by the ocean or rocks or wind, I'm I am minute compared to these things. But yes, Sedona has been known to have a lot of energy. And people go there that are kind of on a meta level, there's crystal shops, there's, a lot of hiking, a lot of different things like that. I did, I was telling you earlier, I did zip lining. It was called Out of Africa. And I zip lined over panthers and rhinos and lions and all this stuff. Do that. Yes. And again, with my sight, I was just in Hawaii and I parasailed 800 feet up. And people are like, are you scared? I was like, no, because I literally can't see it. So I'm zip lining. And then when I heard we was going over the Black Panthers, I was like, Wakanda forever! And just really getting it. Or off-roading. Or horseback riding through straight up in the woods or the fort greenery and then up into the mountains, So that kind of goes back to you being some people say, oh my gosh, how are you not sad? How are you not just somewhere crying about what you've gone through? I was like, that's not me. That's never been me. I'm the type that's I got to be told, rest. Mm-hmm. I got to be told, you feeling better, but girl, don't just yet.
I'm like that too. I got to be told to sit down sometimes.
Yeah.
Relax, sit down.
And the elder told me, shout out to Miss Antoinette. And the elder told me one time, I was like, I'm independent, and that's why I do what I do. Then she said, baby, you got to learn to lean. Because if you don't learn to lean, your body is going to make you lean. And then it was the kidneys, the eyes, So learning to take time, learning the balance.
Balance, yeah. Balance is key.
Right. But yeah, it's still cliff jump in Jamaica and all these things that, again, I love traveling, and with my travels I'm adventure.
So where can people connect with you? Where can they use you to facilitate some events for anything that they have going on? Give everybody your information so that we can figure out how to help you share your gifts with our community even more?
Thank you. So I would say Facebook, I'm Nicole M. Smith, Nicole M. period Smith, Smith. And then my email address is my brand, Nouveau Soul. So that's NEUVEAUSOUL at Gmail. If any of y'all speak French, that's like New Soul, a play on Neo Soul. So Nouveau means new. Not like spelled like Club Nouveau, the band, but again, NEUVEAUSOUL at gmail.com.
Nice. Awesome. Well, again, I want to thank you for coming on tonight and sharing your gifts, sharing your story with our community. I think you had a bunch of valuable things to say and a bunch of jewels got dropped tonight. So I hope y'all was able to receive them. And we just want to say thank you. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please spread the word, share the love, friend, like, all that stuff. We appreciate y'all for tuning in tonight or wherever you might catch the replay.
Yes, and I want to shout out another person, a Northsider, because I directed her show, and she was like, "You blind? How you gonna be able to direct the show?" Amake Kubat wrote a bomb show, Angry Black Woman and a Well-Intentioned White Girl, and again, the power of elderhood, and that was just on my heart, and also again the ability to do whatever we set our minds to. Legally blind director, right here. So. All right, y'all. Peace. And shout out to you, Keisha Caldwell.
Thank you.
Yes.
And shout out to all the community leaders out there, you know,
Yes.
trying to make this community a better place to be. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. And we want to give y'all your roses while you're here, as we like to say. And if you yourself are an artist of any form, be it cooking, sewing, crafting,
Hair braiding,
nails, holistic well-being, anything, any type of art that you have and you want to share with the community, please don't be afraid to reach out. This is a show for the community, so anybody that's a part of the community, you're definitely welcome to come and share what you have to offer with the community. Okay, you don't have to look for people to appreciate who you are. You can come and share your gift and let people come to you. Okay. All right, we're signing out, y'all.
All right, bye. I gotta do it again. Okay. Yeah, that's a better one.